Okay, part two of this lesson on the law of cosines. What we're doing is solving triangles. We're being given some information about a particular triangle, and we're being asked to provide all of the angles and all of the sides. And we found, even if it's not a right triangle, we have some things we can use to help us out. One of them is the law of sines, but we ended up running into some situations where the law of sines didn't work. We hit some roadblocks. And so we've been introduced now to the law of cosines. C squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine of angle C. And we'll write that again in a second. We'll continue to make use of it. This third or additional situation we're going to look at is when we're given only the sides of a triangle. They don't give us any of the angles. Definitely, we'd be in trouble again trying to use the law of sines. We can use the law of cosines. We're just going to have to do some rearranging, and we just have to be careful that we do all our algebra correctly. But you'll see we can do rearranging, and we can solve for one of the angles. And from there, we can kind of go back to the law of sines maybe and go back to some of our other knowledge of triangles to get the rest of our information. I've drawn a triangle up there. I just randomly drew one before I picked any specific question. So don't know how the labeling is going to go. We'll take a look. But in this case, they give me only the lengths of the sides. They say side A is 6. Side B is 9. And side C is 4. And you can already tell I've clearly not drawn this to scale. I've not drawn it correctly. Side C on my picture here looks like the longest side of this triangle. And actually by the numbers that I put, it's the shortest. So let's use the law of cosines and see if we can come up with at least one of these angles. We have no information on angles right now. And remember, the law of cosines, C squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine C. And in this case, even though it's set up like this is not the value we're solving for. It's the equation that we're going to use, but we are going to have to rearrange it a little bit. We could rearrange it all before we drop numbers in. I just want to be careful that we don't make math errors. This might be actually simpler to drop some numbers in first. So let's do that. C squared, that would be 4 squared equals a squared, 6 squared plus b squared, 9 squared minus 2 times 6 times 9 times cosine of angle C. All right, and we can work through this. 16 equals 36 plus 81 minus 2 times 6 times 9. 6 times 9 is 54 times 2 is 108. 108 cosine C. Now, please be super, super careful. I have a lot of students that get a little confused about their order of operations here, and I don't want you to do it. Students are often tempted to say, well, let's do 36 plus 81, that's cool, that's legitimate, minus 108. Can't do that part. I can't minus 108 because 108 is times by something. And order of operation says I can't do subtraction until I do multiplication. So all I'm going to do right now, let's see, this is 117. 6 and 1 is 7. 3 and 8 is 11. Minus 1. All right, right now this says 16 equals 117 minus 108 cosine C. C is my unknown. and we'll get to solving for that in a second. I would subtract 117 right now to get that over to the other side. And 16 minus 117 is a negative number. Is that negative 99? Or negative 101. See, I'm the math teacher. Negative 101 equals negative 108 cosine C. Just doing algebra now. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 108. So I'm going to divide by that. Understand that when I do so, my negatives are going to cancel out. Negative 101 divided by negative 108. And over here, I just have cosine C. All right. And so cosine C is negative 101 divided by 108. And hopefully you guys understand my negatives cancel out. Cosine C is 101 divided by 108. That means C is inverse cosine of this, or arc cosine. So I'm going to do arc cosine, or second cosine, 101 divided by 108. And I get for angle C 20.7 degrees, which is 21 degrees. Well,